loving you. Ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela. Journal entry for today. Well, that kind of sums it up right there. Although, I haven't done a journal entry in a couple of days. This, I know. And, well, I'm not even really sure what to share about these past 2 days. I know, let's see, Saturday. What is today? Today's Monday. Ooh. I'm not even sure when I did my last journal entry. I forgot to take a look. So forgive me, Spirit. However, I'm just going to share what's on my heart right here, right now. Because that seems to be really the only space I can pretty much stay in currently. Yesterday, I had this realization that the only time I was kind of feeling this chest discomfort and this, twang. Well, the twang in the back, and like it, I just kept getting this, I seem to be getting my right wing back, and this release of some energy. And then it was just in my upper back, this like pinch or twang. And then that, I remember laying down yesterday and doing a meditation, kind of a Reiki meditation, focusing on my breathing and breathing into it, into that space. And when I sat up for something, I was like, wow, it's gone. And and today I really noticed it. It seemed to get pretty intense again last night. And Rashini and I were up all night. There was just this, we would lay back down and I would turn on a meditation or some music or something, and both of us were just like, no, we'd be up again. So never really fell asleep until about, remember the last time I looked at the clock thingy, and this time a meditation came on with no ads. Sometimes that can be disturbing. And I had already done waves of light on my phone where I would just turn off everything for a while. I'd done that several times, and that just wasn't working for Rashini and I. But this one I must obviously went out. And I did not hear any alarms. A sister was trying to contact me because I was the host for Monday morning, introducing the topic. I'm the host. And finally, I guess a voicemail had come through for whatever, and that's what we heard. It was like, and then my 5:55 alarm went off going, okay, 5-minute warning before we start. And everything that I had planned on sharing, or the whole thing with the topic, just kind of shot out the window. I barely remembered the 2 video links that I had shared, but it was beautiful, absolutely. I just remember the feeling of the whole circle was really beautiful, and I remember Susan and Kate were together, and that was so much fun. And I could share that because even knowing that there are people that are beginning to watch this for whatever reason, we're live on Facebook, so it's not like it's not out there. Anyway, so that's kind of the gist of it, and then we've really kind of settled into. I have to laugh at myself because every time you think you got a schedule, or there's gonna start this or whatever, it's kind of spirit tosses in a left turn. So Hoopsie is all set up, and even when we do take her, if we do decide to take her down to the river or whatnot, we're parking in a completely different area now, and it's kind of right out there in the front rather than down into the ramp. However, we've gotten Garuda back out, and we're so happy with it, and he loves running beside Garuda. Instead of going all the way down to the river right now, just these past few days, instead of going all the way, because it is an obstacle course still on half of the bike path. They haven't come through and cleared it all yet, probably waiting for monsoon season to finish. But when we go down through there, we kind of laugh because they shove it all up to the side, and there's this whole, hillside of the dirt, and it's like, well, when the next rain comes, it just all comes right back down. It's kind of hilarious in its own way. However, part of the bike path is cleared, but there's a whole other section there where it's an obstacle course. So we're not making it all the way down to the river right yet, and the energies and so forth just haven't quite been there to go all the way down to the river. Plus, it's putting on the wetsuit, the neoprene suit because the mosquitoes are all stirred up right now. So, waiting for the slightly cooler temperatures and or the bike path to be cleared up. But we get down to the bike path, and sometime, like one day, I just let him run. You know, I really felt, just rest. And that was Sunday, interestingly, or Saturday or Sunday. That was Sunday. Saturday, we did the whole walk, and I walked with him. We parked Garuda and we walked. And that was a beautiful, I'm thinking that day we only did maybe 2, probably closer to 3 miles. And then just biked it and let Rashini run yesterday until we got to the but see, without him there, I feel a little more comfortable about kind of dirt biking it through the obstacle course. But when I have him in the pack and we're shooting for the river, bless his heart, we get to a certain point and he's like, he doesn't want to turn around to go back. Sometimes we get to our favorite little tree. Today we went past the tree and went all the way to the next road and came back. So it was definitely 4 miles. But because he knows that that's the path all the way to the river, and he wants to get all the way down to the river. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that yet. We're not doing that yet. So today, because there was hardly any sleep, that 4 miles was enough. And we got back and ate, and I felt my body doing when you're kind of sleep deprived. It's like, just have a lazy day. This is your lazy day. Take the lazy day. So I did. And I recall at one point that I sat straight up and was like, remove everybody from a particular chat that has not been active. And so I listened and I did that, which prompted a beautiful conversation, a wonderful conversation with a sister, and making sure, that there was nothing discordant or whatever between us, and just kind of catching up with where each other is, aside from the circles that we meet in. And yeah, priceless, absolutely priceless. And then I have another sister that we chat sometimes once or twice a day, at least chat-wise, texting and being in touch with each other and having giggles and so forth. However, sometimes we get on the phone, we're like, okay, rather than texting all this out, let's just hop on the phone. And so we do. And we get each other giggling and laughing at ourselves and, the chronic crazy things that us humans and our brains kind of, thoughts that shoot through our head and different things. So, other than that, it's been snuggling with my Rashini, and listening to my astrology, listening to Sadhguru, and obviously checking in on Mother Earth. And it was interesting that checking in on Mother Earth, I had this then that's what I heard today, especially this morning after this night, was rest, rest, rest. We're all in for a big month. October is going to be a big month. Rest, rest, rest. That's what I kept hearing. So when I went to check in, all of a sudden Earthmaster and Stefan Burns comes on, and that was a little bit later in the afternoon, and so I'm listening to them, and then of course Eye of Wisdom came out a little bit later, and one of the other astrologies that I listened to. But Stefan was sharing, gonna go live. There's been a geomagnetic storm surprise. And so it was like, boom, here's this big shot of energy overnight. And so forth. And then there's these solar flares that are getting ready to pop up. And October is going to be a huge month, and we're not sure where this geomagnetic storm is. Just like, boom, it was a surprise. There's been no shootout from, the sun in our direction or anything like that. It's just like, whoosh, where did this come from? And then, of course, Earthmaster's sharing there's a little bit of quietness taking place right now, and he goes over to check the solar, and that's usually when I tune out. I'm kind of, Earthmaster, you're really good for this kind of stuff, but, Stefan is like on it with the solar system, and then Earthmaster goes into the weather, and it's like, I get the weather from another person, so, it's like, but when he flipped it on to that portion, was done with the earthquake piece, he's like, whoa, where did that come from? What's this? And I'm like, it's kind of hilarious. So apparently that was the energy last night with me and Rashini. And then, of course, Stefan doing his meditation and so forth, and sharing that, we're in for a big month, and then go on to Eye of Wisdom, and they're doing, he did this thing with, shifting September 30th, we move into this next moon phase, and I want to say, yes, it's Capricorn, and then a couple of other planetary. We've got. I'm going to test myself here. I believe it is Mars squaring Pluto in, I want to say Sagittarius, but I might be wrong, and maybe it's Sagittarius that we're moving into, not Capricorn. With the moon. Don't quote me on that one. And Spirit, and the sun. There's another polarity on that squaring, and when I get one of my projects complete, I'll be sharing it in a different way. Anyway, one that I can really fully relate to. So not that, see, here's the other piece is there's this, I'm really kind of moving beyond I feel as if I'm beginning to move beyond